Putting 6 people inside a New York City apartment is a difficult recipe for high-stakes drama. No one is defusing a bomb. No one is negotiating a hostage release. It is, by definition, a low-stakes environment. Look at the group's first Thanksgiving. Monica is inside sweating over 4 different types of potatoes, and a massive holiday turkey is slowly turning to charcoal in the oven. Out in the hallway, 6 friends are just staring at a closed door. They are completely locked out, and rather than immediately calling a locksmith or a super, they spend the critical window of time aggressively arguing over who said the phrase, "got the keys," last. This sequence transforms a minor lapse in memory into a high-stakes standoff, showing how the writing generates tension by inflating the consequences of ordinary domestic life. To pull off that illusion week after week, the writers rely on a specific narrative structure. This diagram shows how a small problem travels from the initial spark to an inevitable explosion, a model we can call the escalation engine. The track follows the narrative through 3 distinct stages: the initial catalyst, the character multiplier, and the climax. Understanding how these 3 chambers operate together reveals how writers take something as trivial as an empty milk carton or an untaken-out trash bag, building it into an all-out war. Every conflict begins with the catalyst. On its own, it's a mundane, solvable everyday problem. It could be rearranging a green ottoman or accidentally breaking a tacky seashell lamp. For example, Rachel gets a minor eye infection and receives a simple prescription for basic eye drops to use 3 times a day. In the real world, a person uses the drops and the story ends. But in this engine, writers select a catalyst to target a character's specific psychological weak point. The second phase is the character multiplier. This is where a specific psychological neurosis acts as an accelerant, dumping gasoline on our tiny, low-stakes spark. Rachel's specific flaw in this scenario is childish avoidance. When the doctor brings the dropper near, she flinches, acting like a petulant toddler. To make this volatile, the writers pair her with an opposing force. Monica's neurosis is controlling perfectionism. She cannot let a task go unfinished, even if it belongs to someone else. This graphic shows the friction. A gear labeled avoidance grinds directly into control. The harder Monica pushes, the harder Rachel rebels, spinning faster. The eye drops become irrelevant. The situation shatters because 2 incompatible archetypes are trapped together. Once that friction reaches terminal velocity, we hit the final chamber, the breaking point. This is the moment where the characters entirely abandon rational behavior. Instead of reasoning with her roommate, Monica tackles Rachel to the living room floor, pinning her down to physically wrestle the medication into her eyes. This same logic applies when Joey and Chandler manage to leave an infant on a bus, eventually tracking down 2 identical babies at the transit authority. A logical person would call the police or check medical records. Instead, they reach their breaking point, assigning one baby to ducks, the other to clowns, and flipping a coin in the air to gamble on which child they take home. When you combine a mundane catalyst with hyper-specific character flaws, the math guarantees a climax where logic no longer applies. The audience is locked in simply because the next decision has become impossible to predict. The fallout from these engineered escalations is massive. Holidays are ruined, property is smashed, and entire apartments are lost in trivia games over a fake job title. Why is it so appealing to watch people tear apart their own domestic lives over these trivialities? We don't experience this chaos as a tragedy because it comes with a time limit. All of those consequences are neatly contained within the predictable safety of a 22-minute broadcast. The escalation engine functions as a relief valve for the audience. The fabricated conflicts on screen mirror our own quiet, real-world anxieties. We know what it feels like to bicker with a roommate about chores, or to feel unaccomplished at age 30. Pushing these mundane anxieties to impossible, illogical extremes disarms them. Watching 2 adults wrestle over a bottle of eye drops creates a distance that makes our own daily stressors feel manageable by comparison. By engineering conflicts until they reach a point of ridiculousness, the show allows us to laugh at the very things that cause us the most friction in our own homes.